Welcome back to Gav Goes In. Big up yourselves for coming through each and every time. Obviously, EFL Cup week. There's been some big news around Manchester United. Obviously, Kobbie Mainoo, obviously reports that Kobbie's unhappy, which, again, is not really groundbreaking news. I think it's to be expected. And obviously, tonight's game against Grimsby Town. Again, after the weekend, I'm not really that excited, if I'm honest. I think games against the likes of a Grimsby Town, should be a standard walk in the park. And that's why, for me, this game, has to be, as you guys can see in the title, minimum of 5 goals for me against Grimsby Town. And I'll have to say, if Ruben Amorim doesn't mastermind at least 5 goals against Grimsby Town, what are Grimsby Town? They're in League 1, League 2? Big up to Barbara Joseph each and every time. I think they're League 1 or League 2. So for me, I'm expecting at least a 5-goal swing for United. United for me should be going into this game, no problems at all. Even if it is a changed team, I do expect the scoreline to be significant. And as I said, man, I think that's fair enough for United to be getting at least 5 goals. And I'll be surprised if United. Wait 1 minute, my volume's gone down. Sorry, guys. Big up yourselves. The volume went. As I said, I'll be surprised, guys, if Man United don't at least get 5 goals today. I think against Grimsby, as I said, I think it's a game United should be having no problem with at all. But what team is Amorim going to play? This is the interesting thing, because for me, he has to make significant changes. I don't want to see the same old players, the likes of Bruno Fernandes. I don't want to see players like that playing again, because, United have a big squad and there's players that should be getting more game time that, for me, have to definitely figure in this lineup. Sorry, guys, bear 1 minute. This volume's just messing up. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Guys, keep your questions, keep your comments coming in. And as I said, let me know if you agree. So, must-win game for Ruben Amorim for me. And Amorim's job is on the line. I think regardless of what many people might think, Ineos are not going to be accepting, poor results after poor results, The Arsenal game, again, United, people think United played well. I just think Arsenal were poor and United played better. But ultimately, United didn't win the game. You look at the game against Fulham, a poor performance and very lucky, really, to get away with a draw in the end. And obviously, as I mentioned, the goal that United scored was an own goal, which really should have been given as a foul. Penalty miss from Bruno Fernandes, as we spoke about the other day. Big up to Kinga. So as I said, guys, I think this game for me is no excuse from Ruben Amorim. Grimsby Town, I expect at least 5 goals. The team that I will play, I think it's quite. I think this is the team you should go with to get everyone game time. EFL Cup. Again, the team that I will go with, I don't expect it to play against Burnley. But I think in goal, I think if it's a case where he's trying to force Onana at the club, then he might just go with Bayindir in goal again. Obviously, there's talks with Sene Lamans coming into the club, which hasn't been finalised yet. But does Onana start? I don't know, because it's one of them things where if the manager's trying to freeze him out, then if you're going to freeze him out altogether. So he might go with Bayindir again. I would possibly play Onana, but who knows, man. He might go with Bayindir. The 3 at the back for me, I think because it's against Grimsby, I know United are away from home, but if Ruben Amorim has anything about him as a manager, he'll change the team up and see what this team can do, And for me, the 3 at the back, I would go with Aiden Heaven as a left-sided centre-back. and I think Heaven does play. Harry Maguire in the middle, and possibly he might be the captain as well. And in the right side, the three, Mazraoui's still out. Lenny Yoro should get a rest. And personally, I'd play probably Tyler Fredrickson. I think I'd play Fredrickson in there. And to be fair, that back three there, I think you've got the two youngsters in Heaven and Fredrickson, and then you've got the experience of Harry Maguire. And I think those three should be more than enough to keep out a Grimsby team, you know. Moving forwards, the wing backs, for me, I think Patrick Dorgu gets rested. It's interesting, really, because I think Dallo definitely plays, but it's whether Dallo plays as the left-sided fullback or right-sided fullback, wing back. Sorry. Me personally, I think he might play Ahmad and Dallo. Ahmad on the right and then Dallo on the left. I think he could play that. Me personally, I would like to see Diego Leon get given a game, in the EFL Cup, and then play Dallo, and that means Ahmad at home. As I said before, I hate seeing Ahmad as a wing back, but Ahmad should be starting at home against Burnley. So if Dallo does play and he goes with Diego Leon, then I think I'm happy with that against Grimsby. And I think, again, there shouldn't be any issues on that front. And I think that, that'll be fair enough for me, man. And Ahmad should definitely be starting against Burnley. The two in midfield, again, big up to Pommy the Jester. Big up to Edu the Lose. Guys, keep your questions and comments coming in. And make sure you smash the like button. And make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here as well. Obviously, if you smash that like button, guys, it helps the channel to grow. And it helps it get seen by more people. Just one press of the button. And big up yourselves. So, the two in midfield for me. Kobbie Mainoo's going to start. He has to start. Obviously, there's been big news around Kobbie. Again, I don't like Kobbie in this system playing as one of the two in midfield. But against Grimsby Town, you'd expect Kobbie to dominate to dominate that midfield if he does play. So I think he's going to play Kobbie, and I think he's going to play Ugarte as well. So Pommy says, what's this live stream about? So it's a football channel, and this stream's about Ruben Amorim having to score 5 goals as a minimum against Grimsby Town tonight in the EFL Cup. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know your views as well in the comments. Big up for coming through. So yeah, as I said, I think Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo start today in the midfield. And again, against Grimsby Town, there's no way that Bruno Fernandes should be playing this game. I don't expect Casemiro to play either. So I think both of them get rested. And I think Kobbie and Ugarte both play together in the midfield too. Moving forwards, again, massive fan of Matheus Cunha. I know Cunha hasn't scored and the same with Mbeumo as well. But these two players shouldn't really be playing. I mean, people might say, to get their confidence up and in terms of getting a couple of goals. But I don't think these two should be playing any part against Grimsby, in my opinion. I think rest them for the Burnley game, and let's see other players playing. So the three up top, or the 2 10s and the striker, I think definitely Benjamin Sesko starts through the middle. And I think the 2 10s, I think it's going to be Joshua Zirkzee, and I think Mason Mount gets another game as well. So I think Mount probably plays as a right 10, and then Zirkzee as a left 10, and then Benjamin Sesko will play as the 9. And I think that team there, I think that's the team we should probably go with. And that team is more than capable for me of at least getting 5 goals against Grimsby Town. Again, out of that team there, who do I expect to be starting against Burnley in Amorim's thinking? I think... possibly if we're looking at a striker to come in at home against Burnley, you'd probably say Zirkzee or Sesko. I don't know if Mount starts again against Burnley at home. Kobbie and Ugarte, this manager's not going to play both of them. I don't rate Ugarte. Kobbie Mainoo should be getting more game time, but will Kobbie start? I doubt it. Again, if Kobbie has a great game and scores, let's say, a hat-trick, Do I expect this manager to drop Bruno Fernandes and play Kobbie in there or play him as a 10? I don't, because this manager's made it very clear that he doesn't really rate Kobbie Mainoo as highly as a lot of other fans does. So I don't expect much to change, if I'm honest. Um, Again, I think, who else is there? Dallo. I mean, if Dallo plays against Burnley at home, I'm questioning this manager yet again. I think against Burnley, United have to be going into that game with as many attackers as possible. And as I said, his team tonight, I don't want to see a strong. If he starts a strong team tonight, I think we have to seriously question this manager. I'm questioning him anyway. But if he starts a strong team, I think we have to be concerned going forwards, because there is no way that this manager, Ruben Amorim, should be playing a strong team against Grimsby Town. No way. And as I said, I'll be very surprised if he actually does that, because you can't be starting a strong team up against Grimsby and thinking fans are going to be happy with that. So for me, yeah, I expect that sort of team to play. And I expect, if you've got the likes of Cunha and them on the bench and you want to give them, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, then fair enough. But there's no way them guys should be starting. I expect the likes of Matthias de Ligt, Lenny Yoro, Bruno, Mbuemo, Cunha, Patrick Dorgu. I think all those players should be left out entirely. Because again, it's against Grimsby Town, man. So I don't want to hear any excuses. Big up to me. Me says the team he thinks should be by in there: Fredrickson, Maguire, Heaven, Dallo, Leon, Ugarte, Mainoo, Mount, Xerxes Sesko is my lineup for Grimsby. Yeah, that's literally the same lineup that I said. So yeah, that's literally the same lineup that I said. And that's the lineup that he should go with. And I'll be very surprised if he doesn't. That is the exact lineup that I said. I think the only change is probably by in there or Anana. I think if he plays by in there again, then I think that's definitely a sign that he's trying to force Anana out, which again the rumours are saying that anyway. So yeah, I think that team should definitely play, and that team is more than capable of winning 5-0. More than capable, And if he doesn't get at least 5 goals against Grimsby tonight, the pressure's only going to heap against Burnley, and rightfully so, because, as I said, man, this season's been unacceptable, and yeah, and it definitely needs to be rectified. I know people are going to say it's only been 2 games. Big up to Gunners fan. People are only going to say it's only been 2 games, but again, it's not been 2 games, because last season is not going to escape my mind. It might, other fans might forget about last season, but I'm not going to. So it's not 2 games, and let's not forget, United still haven't won. They haven't technically scored a goal. So again, I expect 5-0, maybe more, against Grimsby tonight. And for me, if he plays the same team that he played against Fulham, I'll be disgusted personally, because it's like you need your full team in your eyes to play against Grimsby Town, and you're not giving other players game time. It's crazy, man. So yeah, man, I think 5-0 is fair, man. So me says, doesn't matter how many games, bro. 29 Prem games, 28 points is unacceptable. 100%. 100%. If there's any fan out there that thinks, that is acceptable, 28 points in 29 games, then again, I'm not quite sure where your standards have gone, because as a Man United manager, again, he's had 7 wins since he's joined. That is shocking. 7 wins since he's come to the club. 24 win percentage? Yeah. Nowhere near good enough. So yeah, he needs to be under severe pressure. As I said, guys, I'm not hiding the fact that for me, Amorim needs to be sacked. Like I don't care what anyone says. There's no way Ruben Amorim deserved this season. I dispute that with anyone. Not based on what he done last season. I don't care about players not being good enough, etc. That's a lie anyway, you know. Because at the end of the day, just look at what Thomas Frank has done. Look what Thomas Frank has instilled into that Tottenham team already. You know, look at Tottenham's games. You know, they battered Burnley at home. Was it 3-0? They beat City away, 2-0, which is a great result. Who else was there? And against PSG, for large parts of the game, they were the better team, and obviously got beat on penalties. And again, you're playing against arguably the best team in the world right now in PSG. So, again, and Thomas Frank's been there 5 minutes. So, this is the thing, man. This is the thing. Like, Thomas Frank's been there 5 minutes, and look what he's already got going at that Tottenham team. He's brought in Kudus, he's brought in João Paulinho. Listen, there's no excuse, man. And as Rishi says, players not being good enough is United copium. 100%, I agree with that. It's people are saying that the players are not good enough. It's just another reason to kind of protect the manager, And it's a disgrace, really, because these players that are supposedly not good enough, it's like when they actually do win a game, who are you praising? Like, this is the thing. When you're saying the players ain't good enough, as a coach, your job is to get the most out of the players, And this is what people are failing to realize. If you're a manager that comes into a club and you're not getting the best out of what you've got, then ultimately that means you're not a good manager, regardless of what anyone says, And as Rishi says, protect the manager and Bruno. This is what's going on. Like, these are two people at the club that are two of the biggest problems at the club, and they're protected by parts of this fan base, And as I keep saying, as long as this keeps happening, this team ain't doing anything serious, And a lot of it has to stop, man. And as I keep saying, I think Ineos are aware of this. Ineos are going to be acting if results like this continue, and his job is on the line, regardless of what fans want to do to protect him. His job is on the line, because I can tell you this for free. Yeah, if Ruben Amorim struggles against Grimsby tonight and doesn't win by, let's say, 5 goals, doesn't beat Burnley, I guarantee this now, with that international break coming up, there'll be murmurs about him being moved on. There will be, If any fan thinks that Ruben Amorim is safe in his job, then I suggest these fans think again, because there is no way a manager performing the way he does, deserves to be confident that he can see out the season. I've seen a lot of this manager. Again, when he first come to the club, I wasn't ecstatic, really, because I wanted the Zerbi at the time. If anyone knows, that's been watching my channel for any period of time, I wanted Zinedine Zidane, even though I know that was a bit of an optimistic appointment, because as we know, Zidane, formerly of Real Madrid, him coming to United the way he is going to tarnish his career. So, but he was the one that I wanted, really. And then when Ten Hag was getting sacked, I wanted the Zerbi, Thomas Frank, managers like that. And the fact that Amorim came in, I was excited with Amorim, because I thought, he's a young coach, and he's up and coming. And let's not forget, the likes of Man City, Liverpool, were rumoured to be looking at him. The fact that West Ham turned him down, was alarm bells ringing for me, really. But still, I think it was more the case where Ten Hag was going, and let's get a new manager in, new coach in, and see if we can go in a different direction and help this team go forward. I'd have to say this manager's worse than Ten Hag. Like I've said this before, this manager is worse than Eric Ten Hag. I never thought I'd be saying that. I never thought I'd be saying that this manager is worse than arguably one of the worst managers ever at the club. But he probably is. And the win percentage shows it. The way the team's performing shows it, the results. I guarantee you this now, if Eric Ten Hag had that Man United team in that Europa League final against Tottenham, he wins that game. This is how bad it is. Big up to Daniela. This is how bad it is. And yeah, it's mad. Big up to Exedra as well. Big up, man, for coming through. So as I said, man, like as much as Ten Hag was an absolute tyrant and needed to go, he's actually better than Ruben Amorim, which is crazy business, you know. But as I said, man, he's got these two games are crucial for different reasons because I think if any fan's being serious, you should be expecting minimum 5 goals. And again, if he gets 5 goals against Grimsby with a changed team, big up to Sham. Then again, man, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I expect that, you know. But the game against Burnley is crucial for his career. It's crucial because he has to win. There's no draw. There's nothing like that. He has to win the game against Burnley. And then going into City and Chelsea, I'm sorry, man, you got to win both them games too. So he's up against it because there's no way that Man United can come out of these 5 games, you know, with, let's say, 3 points. 3 points in 5 games if he gets beat by Chelsea and City and beats Burnley is an absolute joke and he has to go. You know, if he gets 5 points for me, 5 points in 5 games, that's poor. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. Between City and Chelsea, he has to somehow mastermind the win. This is the problem. You know, Burnley, I'm putting Burnley to the side because I expect United to beat Burnley. But between City and Chelsea, Ruben Amorim has to get a win somewhere. You know, and there should be no excuses. I don't want to hear no excuses for this manager. And again, I think the international break's coming after the Burnley game. So who knows? If he doesn't beat Burnley, he might not even be there. So this is the thing, man. And a lot of people say, "Oh, who would you get in?" Listen, go and get me Glasner if you can get him out of Crystal Palace. You know, go and get me Andoni Iraola as well. Get me one of them, Xavi. You know, just go and get me a competent manager that's going to play the best players. You know, too many fans keep saying, "Oh, what manager would you get in?" Again, that's not my job, but I can tell you names that I would want. You know, and Man United should have the resources to try and get a manager that's in a job already with how big the club is. So, again, a lot of fans that are saying, "Who would you get?" Listen, there's managers to be gotten. You know, Xavi's not working right now. Zidane's not working right now. So, again, could they revisit that? But one thing's for certain, this manager's not going to last. You know, because he hasn't got what it takes. And the fans that keep protecting him, and protecting certain players is part of the problem. You know, so crazy. Guys, come on, 20 of you in there, only 9 likes. Let's smash the like buttons, guys. Minimum 30 likes today. So just one press of the button, smash the like button and sub to the channel as well. Just gonna go through some of your questions. Big up. So Gunners fan says it's better for Man United to lose this so Amorim gets sacked. Again, I'm not of the opinion that Man United lose games to get the manager sacked. You know, I think personally that's a defeatist mentality. You know, I'm not of that opinion, you know, because it shouldn't be United lose and a manager gets sacked. At the end of the day, Ineos should be looking at the bigger picture and thinking to themselves, regardless of what this manager does, we need to be making a new appointment for the betterment of the team. So again, yeah, I'm not with this Man United to lose, Amorim to get sacked. It's not about that for me. Because Man United shouldn't be getting beat by Grimsby Town. That's unacceptable, you know. So as much as I don't think this manager's good enough and as much as I think he should be sacked, I'm not going to come on there and say I want Man United to get beat so the manager gets sacked. He shouldn't be here in the first place, judged on what he done last season and how we started the season off. So, again, Ineos just need to be looking at the bigger picture and just thinking, right, this manager's not doing a good job, man. So we got to make a change. Simple as that, you know. TARDIS says Ineos need to go as well. I don't think so. I think Ineos at the moment, you know, in terms of the signings that they've made since they've come to the club, they're only you know, red flag for me is the signing of Manuel Ugarte. But I think every other signing, I'm content with. Again, I didn't really want Sesko, but the fact that Sesko's come in and Hoyland's going out, fair enough. You know. So yeah, as I said, man, I think Ineos have done a good job in that sense. But again, the whole Bruno Fernandes nonsense and the fact this man just still here is again they're red flags for me. So we'll have to just wait and see. Again, there's 5 days left to the end of the transfer window, so let's hope there's more movement on that front. Again, I'm still remaining 95% certain that we get Baleba, and until this window's shut, I'm going to remain optimistic on Baleba. Me says, for me, it was the players when Moyes and Mourinho was here. Oli was too friendly, but now the manager is not good enough. You have to adapt to your players to win games. Agree. I think LVG, as I've mentioned previously, he was the one manager after Ferguson that didn't deserve the sack, because he was building something, even in the youth teams, even in the reserves. He was building something. And let's not forget as well, he never had half the money that these other managers had. Never had half the players either. He had a young Martial, a young Rashford, a Finnish Wayne Rooney and a Van Persie as well. So again, he was bringing in youngsters into the system and making it work. And the fact that Mourinho became available is why the club pulled the plug, because the fans were just impatient. But look, if anyone didn't watch when Van Gaal took United to Liverpool, I think it might have been when was it when Rooney scored against Liverpool at Anfield? I think it might have been. United dominated the game. I've never seen a Man United team dominate the game the way they did against Liverpool at Anfield, and that was due to Van Gaal's team and his philosophy and his system. So he should never have been sacked for me, Louis Van Gaal. But again, an impatient fan base. And this is what's happened now. You look at all the managers from Van Gaal. Moyes, Mourinho. No, sorry, it was Moyes. No, Moyes was before Van Gaal. Sorry. So yeah, Moyes was before Van Gaal. It was Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer. I'm not counting Rangnick because Rangnick shouldn't have been there. No, was it Rangnick before? Was it Rangnick before Solskjaer? What was it? It was Van Gaal, Mourinho. Then after Mourinho, was it Solskjaer? And then Rangnick. Or was it Rangnick, Solskjaer? Rangnick, Solskjaer, Ten Hag, Amorim. Can't remember the order, but all those managers there, have been a failure. So again, LVG should have been persevered with, and as I said, LVG was building something good. But it's what happens when you're impatient. Pep has used 15 or more formations since being at City. Even Alonso at Madrid hasn't used his 3-5-2. He uses 4-4-2 and 4-3-3 because he knows his players can't play his old formation. But again, with Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid, I'm surprised. I think he has used his 3-5-2 with the wing backs at Madrid before. But the thing with Xabi Alonso, I think this is where he's going wrong in a sense. I mean, again, I agree. I agree that sometimes sometimes you have to give and take with your formation in preference of the players. I do understand that, but I look at Real Madrid's team now, and Real Madrid have a team that are capable of playing a 3-5-2. Really, you could play with Alvaro Fernandez or Ferland Mendy as the 2 left wing backs. And then you've got Danny Carvajal and Trent that can play as 2 right wing backs. So for me, they have got the personnel to play that system. But a lot of it depends on fitting in certain players. Because I think if you're going to try and fit in Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, which again, they're on big money and they've got big status in the game, I think Alonso at the moment might just be thinking it's easier to just kind of adapt to them at the moment, But again, they're a bit of a different case because they can play the 3-5-2 with the players they have. They've got a selection of midfielders that can play as a 2. Camavinga's there, Chouameni, Valverde. You know, they have got a selection of midfielders there. You know, if you think of the three up top, you know, you could play Arda Güler as a inverted forward on the right side there. Mastantuano as well. Then you got Mbappe through the middle, Gonzalo Garcia, Vinicius Junior on the left as well. Obviously, Benham can play in the two probably as well. But so they've got options there. They have, you know, but this Amorim, the fact that I put well, the thing is, put it this way, yeah. The biggest problem that I have with Amorim's system is that I'm having to watch Amad Diallo play right wing back. So immediately for me, that's the issue that I have, because if you change, if he plays a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, we're now seeing Amad play more as an attacker. So whether he plays as a 10 in the 4-2-3-1 or a right winger, you know, in a 4-3-3, you know, he can play as a winger, or if need be, if you want to be a bit more attacking, he can play central. But the fact that we have to watch this formation of a 3-4-2-1, Amad in this system has to play wing back because Mbeumo's there, and Mbeumo's going to play as a right 10. And guys, let's not forget as well, this system of a 3-4-2-1 is not a winger system. The wingers come from the wing back position, you know. So Brian Mbeumo is playing as a right 10 when he's not a right 10. This is the problem. So this manager is playing a system where you've got players that don't play in them positions. Brian Mbeumo is a winger. He's not a inside right 10. He's not. Amad is more suited to playing as a right 10 than what Mbeumo is. You know, so really, realistically, if you want to keep Brian Mbeumo as playing as a winger, really he should be playing wing back. But again, do I want to see Brian Mbeumo play as a wing back? I don't. This is why I don't want to see Amad Diallo as a wing back, because you've got Amad who's a 10 playing wing back. You've got Mbeumo as a winger playing as a 10. You know, the whole thing just doesn't make any sense. You know, so yeah, it's mad. It is absolutely mad. So Gunners fan said Ten Hag started the downfall. Amorim made it even worse. Yeah, Ten Hag was an absolute disgrace. And as I said, the red flags with Ten Hag, you know, was when he started playing a front three of Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, and Rasmus Højlund. You know, and I've mentioned this previous times. Yeah, if you're playing a front three like that, like don't expect goals or good results, because you cannot play Rashford, Garnacho, and Højlund as a front three. There's no ball retention. There's no intelligence. There's not really any physicality there either, you know. And you're not going to be able to do anything with that front three, because all three of them players, you've got two players there that are shoot first players, and you've got three players there that are not reliable in keeping the ball. So the fact that he done that and just relied on pace alone meant that this manager doesn't know what he's doing. So, and amongst other things as well, you know. So, but again, Amorim, I'll have to say, is performing worse. You know, he's performing worse. Big up to Exedra says he has to dominate Burnley for a start. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be satisfied here if Man United beat Burnley 1-0, but they scrape a 1-0 victory. So again, for me, he has to beat Burnley. If he does beat Burnley and scrapes a 1-0, there's no way I'm going to sit here and be happy with that. No way. Yeah, no way would I accept that, or I'll be happy with that. That would be an absolute disgrace for me. Yeah, that'd be an absolute disgrace. So I'm just watching Sky Sports News. Charlie Daniels. I was with him at Tottenham. Funny enough, when I was at Tottenham, he played left back and I was playing left midfield. See him on the TV now on Sky Sports News. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. He was fortunate to get where he did, and I know that for a fact, because as I said, I played in the same youth team with him at Tottenham, and yeah, I mean he made the most of his career at Bournemouth. Let's get it right, but yeah, a lot of politics came into it with him, and I know that for a fact. But yeah, no, I just see him on the screen. That's why I paused. I thought, oh, Charlie Daniels on there. But listen, he made most of his career, man. I ain't gonna lie, but yeah, politics played its part in that, man. Definitely. Um, Me says, you know who we need, and I'm out. I'm not even joking. Sam Allardyce. He would sort us right out and give us a basic 4-4-2 formation. Yeah, listen. I'm not here for Sam Allardyce. I'll be honest. I understand what you mean, but at the end of the day, it's not Sam Allardyce. Until Man United get a manager that wants to play football, yeah, this is the main thing. Don't expect United to be doing anything serious. All the managers through the years that keep coming to this club, over the last couple of years, have been managers that just prefer athletes rather than footballers, you know. And I've never seen a team, dominate football because they've got pure athletes. Never happens, never will, So this is the problem. So Rishi says, even 5 tonight, don't give him flowers. It's the minimum that should be doing. Yeah, bro, listen, 100% agree with that. As I said, I'm saying 5 goals because that's what I expect. But if he beats Grimsby 5-0, am I gonna sit here and say, Amorim, well done? No. You should be beating him 5-0. And as I said, if it's anything less than 5-0, he's gonna be under some severe pressure. Severe pressure. So as I said, man, we don't praise stuff like that. It should be a minimum requirement for me. Shaquille Khan says, hey, do you think Bruno is leaving in the summer? Yeah, I personally think this is Bruno's last season. Again, I'm hoping he goes in January. I'm hoping, again, we're hearing about Al Ittihad, who want him. I'm just hoping that a bid comes in. Again, as I've said to you guys, I'm tired with this Bruno Fernandes story because he should have gone at the start of the summer. But all I want now is if Al Ittihad are interested in him, I just want a bid to come through. If a bid comes through, then we can start looking up. Because I keep saying this, guys, and I've been saying this for years. He is the biggest problem at this club for many reasons. People didn't want to hear it, and now all of a sudden, there's fans out there that want to start saying, Bruno's now a problem. It's like, where have you been? Bruno was a problem when he was getting all this GA, but fans didn't want to hear it because a lot of fans don't really follow the game properly. They're just more interested in bigging up a player if it means pitting a player against someone else. You know what I mean? But Bruno Fernandes was a problem when he was getting all this GA because people didn't look at the fact that the amount of times he used to empty the midfield, leave the midfield stranded. And all of a sudden now, it's fashionable to say Man United should be taking the money for Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, they should have at the start of the summer, and he shouldn't even been at this season. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, there's no fans now really that can start being, a lot of fans have been onto this Bruno, but a lot of fans now are coming around to the idea of saying Bruno has to go, and it's like he should have been gone years ago. You know what I mean? This is what foresight is all about. But a lot of fans, as I said, were just more interested in Bruno, Bruno's GA, and that's the problem. That is the problem. So to answer your question, Shaquille, do I think Bruno's leaving in the summer? I'm not sure because until this bid comes in, what I would say, if the bid comes in from Saudi, he goes. I think he goes if the bid comes in. But will the bid come in? This is the problem. Iseja says, I would love Conte. Yeah, listen, Conte is a good manager, but not for me. Not for me. I wouldn't want Conte at this team. Again, Conte is another 3 at the back manager. I don't want no 3 at the back manager. Just go to the 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. Get your best players on the pitch. Create a system which gets the best out of them, and let's keep it moving. It's as simple as that. So me says I'd rather have the Bournemouth guy just because of his formation. Glasner uses same formation as Amorim, and I don't like it. Yeah, but Glasner is adaptable. Look at what Glasner had at Eintracht Frankfurt when he had what's his face? I forgot his name. Kolo Muani. You know, he does play a four at the back. I think the way that Palace play and the players they have is suited to that. You know, but he can play a four at the back. I don't mind Glasner. Iraola's a top manager. And as I said, Iraola or Glasner for me in this league right now. I'm happy with Xavi. Purely just go and get me a manager that wants to play the best players. It's not too much to ask, you know. If Ruben Amorim was playing the best players, the likes of Xerxes, the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, Ahmad not as a wing back, you know, then I wouldn't have too much complaint. But the fact that this manager doesn't want to play the best players and is more fixated on playing runners is the reason why he can't last, you know, and shouldn't last. Yeah, De Zerbi as well for me, Zedra. Very good manager. Nah, Simone Inzaghi is not going to come to United. He just went to Saudi. So Rishi says, De Zerbi from the start of the season with these players minus Bruno would get you top six. Yeah, of course he would. Like, listen, top six is only out of the question because of this manager. Like, if everyone's being serious, the only reason a lot of fans are saying top six is not a possibility is because of this manager. Because I can guarantee you this now, if you give this team to a Thomas Frank, to an Iraola, to a Glasner, and they play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, Man United will be in one game a week. Man United will be in question for a top six. No doubt. Like, I have no doubts about that. The reason why fans are not saying that is because of this manager. This manager. And then all you're going to get is the players are not the players are not good enough. He needs more players. Like, it's just excuse after excuse. You know? I call fans that want this manager to stay. Again, they're fans that don't really know about football. They don't. You know, they're more interested in, you know, protecting this manager and protecting their opinion, which they don't want to change. Because there's no way that Ruben Amorim deserves to stay here. There's no way. And as Rishi has said, you know, De Zerbi, or not even just De Zerbi, an Iraola, you know, as I mentioned, Glasner, whoever, Xavi, if they was to come in, I'll definitely be saying, look, top six, one game a week, you know, with the players they have already, the formation change. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Gav, Ineos have already fucked up by not sacking Amorim last season. Yeah, but again, etc. That's what I said. Like, I agree. You know, I agree. But what I'm gonna do, I am gonna remain optimistic with Ineos because Ineos have done some good things. But to be fair, the red flags in terms of not sacking Amorim, you know, being part of giving Bruno a new contract, even though obviously we was told that it was part of Dan Ashworth and that's why he got sacked. Again, they have done some things which I don't agree with, but on the other hand, they have done some things which I do agree with. But as I said, I'm just more focused on these 5 games because the first thing is I'm putting Grimsby to the side because I expect 5-0, and if he doesn't, it just means that he's under pressure for the Burnley game. The Burnley game is key because he has to win that, and if he doesn't, he's gonna be sweating in this 2-week international break. And then you've got City and Chelsea coming back. And if he is still in charge, come the City and Chelsea game, the same thing stands. He has to win both games. So again, he's got a massive job coming up because he's got Burnley, Chelsea, and City to get 9 points for me. And if he doesn't, I expect Ineos, as much as they've made a few mistakes, to pull the plug on his manager, and rightfully so. You know, but against Burnley, if he doesn't beat Burnley, who's to say he doesn't? He might not even see City or Chelsea. So, yeah, man. Big up to United fan 345. Big up. Yeah, listen, LVG wanted Mane. I think LVG wanted Thomas Muller as well. I think there was other players, but listen, the fact that LVG they let him go for Mourinho. I know people will say Mourinho's a proven winner, etc. But LVG was building something. You know, he was building a very, very good team there. And, well, I say very, very good team. I think it's more of the case of look at what he was doing when his hands were tied behind his back. You know, he never had half the money and he was using youth players and they were coming in doing a job, you know. So, yeah, but they let him. They sacked him, you know, and the respect that they showed him was an absolute disgrace as well. Sacking him at half time of a game because Mourinho became available. You know what I mean? Disgrace, absolute disgrace. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so LVG, Jose, Oli, Ranić, Ten Hag. Yeah, um, again, and out of all those, you know, I'm not including Ranić because Ranić for me was someone that should have been upstairs anyway, the director. So I'm not really including Ranić. But if you look at Jose Mourinho, Solskjaer and Ten Hag, you know, Oli should never have been there in the first place and was only there because, let's face it, because he stuck his leg out in '99 in the Champions League final. That's why he was given the job. I don't care what anyone says. Although Oli, even though he was a poor manager, you know, at least he kind of understood, you know, that it was more the players than him. You know, at least he was a bit humble in that sense. Mourinho, as we know, you know, doesn't develop players, needs the finished made players already. And this is why the likes of Martial and even Rashford lost development under him. Ten Hag, we discussed already, was an absolute joke. And Amorim's worse than Ten Hag. So, again, LVG for me was the guy. And an impatient fan base meant that, you know what I mean, he wasn't kept on. Which is why we're in this position right now. Um, big Phil Holland says, "Here we go." I'm not Fabrizio Romano, man, but big up for coming on. Um, big up to Joseph Boyce says, "You're a United fan then?" I am. I'm a United fan. Phil Holland says, "Well, tonight they have to slam Grimsby. That's what I would do tonight. Put out a good side and tell them to win big." But again, the team that I've said earlier, you know, I don't want to see him put out the team that played against Fulham. You know, this is against Grimsby Town. You know, and I expect, you know, a whole lot of changes. If he doesn't make, put it this way, yeah, I'll tell you this for free, yeah. If he doesn't make the changes that's required, and they don't beat Grimsby by at least 5 goals, he's in trouble. If he makes changes, you know, and doesn't beat Grimsby by 5 goals, I think it's unacceptable for a start, but fair enough, you know. But he's going to be making a massive problem for himself if he plays a strong team in his eyes and they don't beat Grimsby by about 5 goals to 0. Because he's going to be under severe pressure if that happens. So whatever he does, you know, he's going to be in trouble, put it that way. So yeah, we'll be waiting for that to see what happens. So Joseph Boyce says, "What do you think about Sesko?" Again, I think I've answered this a couple of times. You know, I'm not a massive fan of Sesko, and I'm going to be consistent on that. When United bought him, you know, he wasn't someone that I was saying, I'm glad United have got Sesko, because I thought there was other players out there, the likes of Mateta, the likes of Vissa, you know, Ivan Toney, players that have experience in this league already. And then the reason for that as well is that a lot of fans were saying that Man United need to go and get a 30-goal a season striker, you know. And this is why a lot of fans were looking at Victor Gyökeres. To think now that a lot of fans are now happy getting a striker that had 13 Bundesliga goals, again, is funny. But in terms of Sesko coming in and Højlund going out, I'm satisfied with. So that's what I will say. In terms of Sesko, the player himself, you know, I think he's a bit hit and miss with his touch. His movement's actually decent. He's got decent movement, to be fair. He's quite a physical threat as well. Obviously, as we know, he's good in the air. So I do think, you know, with a settled team, you know, he can be an asset. You know, again, the favoured front three for me, or the 2 10s and the striker in this system, you know, is Xerxes as the 9, either Ahmad or Mbeumo as the right 10, and then Cunha as the left 10. And then you got Sesko backing it up. And if it's not working, you can bring him on. That's the favoured for me. But I think in terms of Sesko, the player, I'm not a massive fan of him. I'm not. And but again, he's at Manchester United, and let's hope he can help, you know, put the team back into the right path. That's what I will say, you know. Phil Holland says, yes, the results that Amorim has put together are not great. However, I do not judge him on last season. Sorry. Yeah, well, I do, Phil. And any fan that isn't taking last season into account, again, is another sign of letting this manager get away with it. Because if you're not going to judge him on last season, then why not? Why won't you judge him on last season? Because for me, last season can't be forgotten about. I've never seen a Man United team perform the way they did last season, you know? And again, if you're not going to judge him on last season, it's because you want him to get away with certain things. And I'm not of that opinion. You know, again, if you feel we shouldn't be judging it, that's fair enough, but not for me. And again, any fan that wants Amorim to get a clean slate, I'll go as far and say you're part of the problem, because the fact that fans are forgetting about last season and only judging him on this season is why a lot of fans are going to continue to let him get away with murder. Last season should not be forgotten about. It shouldn't be. The fact that he didn't beat Tottenham, who don't win nothing really, in the Europa League final. The fact that United had, before the Aston Villa game, 9 points in 2025. The fact that in 2025, even coming up to this season as well, Man United have only had 1 goal from open play. Who are we blaming for that? You know, we can't keep saying it's the players' fault, because I can tell you this right now. If Thomas Frank or if Iraola or Glasner was in charge of this Man United team, there's no way Manchester United score 1 goal from open play. There's no way Man United amassed 9 points in 2025 before the Villa game. There's no way that happens. There's no way a Man United manager gets 7 wins from when they come in at that time. Not to mention, Man United were 4 points from the top 4 when this manager joined. I can tell you that for free. There's no manager that would have amassed those stats. So again, I'm going to judge him from last season. And again, if you don't want to judge him from last season and we judge him from this season, it's not been good enough. And again, Grimsby tonight, Burnley on the weekend, international break, City and Chelsea, 9 points. 5 goals minimum and 9 points from the next 4 games is what needs to happen. Joseph Boyer says Højlund isn't good. Yeah, listen, Højlund's the worst striker in the league. You know, 72 million, 4 league goals. He never was good. You know, the fact that fans are still trying to make a case for Rasmus Højlund, again, just shows the problem in the fan base, because I'm still hearing fans say Rasmus should be still part of the squad, still part of the lineup. Rasmus Højlund's not good. Like, just face it, he's not a good player, man. You know, I'm not here for no revisionism on Rasmus Højlund. He just isn't good. You know, he's been given more chance than many others, you know, and he's proven that he hasn't got what it takes. You know, this is Manchester United. This is a club that should be amongst the elite. And you're only going to be amongst the elite if you've got elite players. You know, if you've got an elite manager or a manager that can provide a system to get the best out of the players. And unfortunately, Hoyland's not that. The manager's not that. And certain players like a Bruno Fernandes are not that either. So again, this is what fans need to kind of realize, you know. Phil Holland says could be worse. We could be West Ham. LOL. Yeah, but again, West Ham won the Europa League, man. so listen. To think that West Ham won, or was it Conference League they won? Was it Conference League though, or Europa League? No, they won Europa League. Yeah, West Ham won Europa League under David Moyes. So Man United didn't. So under Ruben Amorim. So let's put that into perspective, you know. Phil says, listen, Grimsby will make it very hard, very, very hard, and we'll just put everyone in the box. Phil, I couldn't give a damn how hard Grimsby make it for United. 5-0. That's it. You're meant to be Manchester United. You know, you're meant to be a good coach. You know, let's see what you can coach. You know, Grimsby are in League 2, I think. League 2 or League 1, you know. Man United are a Premiership team, you know, with the amount of resources that they have at the club. I don't care how hard Grimsby make it. I don't give a damn. 5-0 minimum. Simple as. Big up to Agnes 14ish as well. Wolf Hayes says January can't happen. It's now or summer. What do you mean, Wolf Hayes? January can't happen. It's now or summer. What do you mean? Rishi says no bid coming. He will run his contract down and go to Saudi for free. And the thing is as well, yeah, it will make me laugh if that happens, because a lot of these fans, if a lot of these fans think, if Bruno does that, yeah, a lot of these fans are like, the criticism for Bruno is mad. Could you imagine if he leaves the club on a free? Again, he'll be laughing in these fans' faces, you know, because that would be funny to watch. You know, apparently Bruno loves the club but leaves on the free. Imagine that. A lot of these fans will have to be answering for a lot of their comments, man. You know. So Zedra says, I think Conte is quite adaptable, Gav, but most importantly, Conte is great at understanding profiles and getting the best out of players. Yeah, listen, Zedra, I hear that, but for me, I just want a manager that plays good football. And Conte, for me, isn't on the higher side of playing good football, you know. Although Conte does come in and he does expect a certain amount of, you know, discipline in his teams. I get that. But I'm done with managers like Conte, like Ten Hag, like Amorim, like Mourinho. These kind of managers, the Mourinhos and the Contes, they're a bit outdated. The likes of Amorim and Ten Hag, you know, they're like hipster managers, a lot of them. I just want a manager that comes in and plays good football. That's a good start. So I understand he might be adaptable, but yeah, I'm not a fan of his football, man. So that's it. Sam says that's what laugh out loud. No patience, FC. That's what we do best. Blame the manager. Yeah, of course you blame the manager, because the manager's not getting good results and he's not implementing a style of play that is conducive to the players he has. Of course you're going to blame him. Who are you going to blame? Don't listen to a lot of these other fans that keep saying blame the board. The board or Ineos don't tell Amorim to play Bruno Fernandes for 90 minutes each game. The board don't tell Amorim to play to bring on Dallo for Ahmad when you need to go and get a goal. The board don't tell Amorim that you got two strikers on the bench and you're going to play Mason Mount in the 10, and you keep one of the strikers on the bench and bring another striker on late on. The board don't tell him them things. So again, let's stop with the protection of Ruben Amorim and hold him accountable for this nonsense that he's doing. You know, the fact that he knows that Bruno was affected by the penalty miss, but keeps him on for 90 minutes is an absolute joke when you've got other players that can come on and have an impact. The fact that we look at Kobbie Mainoo, that he can't play in a midfield two with Bruno Fernandes. To think this manager had the cheek to put Mason Mount alongside Bruno when he took off Casemiro and put on Sesko is an absolute disgrace. So, again, I'm not here to be protecting this manager. He doesn't deserve it, you know. And if you're not doing the job, you deserve to go. End of story. So Phil Holland says, Jesus Christ, it's been 2 games. Calm down. But again, Phil, what I would say, you're entitled to your opinion, but this is what what I would say, yeah. When it comes to if United don't beat Burnley, yeah, and he's still here, and then gets beat by City and Chelsea, I don't want to hear you come on here say Amorim out, because what I choose to do is look at the bigger picture. You know, you're looking at it that it's 2 games. It's not 2 games. It's what he's been showing since he's come to the club. And this is where a lot of fans are not really getting it. Yeah. What he's shown since he's come to the club, regardless if he hasn't had his players, etc., has been unacceptable. You know, I don't care what anyone says, it's been unacceptable. So if you're looking at it as a fact of 2 games, and rather than looking at the bigger picture, when he doesn't beat Burnley, if it happens, and doesn't beat Chelsea and Man City, I don't want to hear you come back on here and tell me, you know, it's only 5 games or, you know, Amorim out, because you got to look at the bigger picture, you know. Wolfhaze says the agenda fans have come out now. Blame another manager. Blame the guy that's being played out of position. Yeah, and Wolfhaze, you're coming on there and you're not really saying anything, really. You're just saying generic stuff. The agenda fans have come out now. Blame another manager. Blame the guy that's being played out of position. Bruno shouldn't be in the team in the first place. And again, you know where a lot of fans are not really understanding as well, you know, is that a lot of these fans actually think Bruno Fernandes is a number 10. That's how scary it is, you know. A lot of fans actually think Bruno's a 10. Bruno's never been a 10. Bruno has been played in the position as a 10, you know, because it's about getting the best out of his numbers. He's never been a number 10. If I was to tell you number 10s, yeah, you can't compare Bruno to these players. Dennis Bergkamp, Ronaldinho, Zidane, Pablo Aimar, Juan Roman Riquelme, Francesco Totti, Alessandro Del Piero. You know, there's probably Manuel Rui Costa. There's probably players I've even forgotten. These players are real number 10s. Benito Carboni. You know, these players, Matt Letizia. These players are real number 10s. Bruno Fernandes is not a number 10. He's being played in a position as a number 10. When United had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Erik ten Hag, they played a formation which meant that Bruno was playing as a number 10. But he's not even a true number 10. And a lot of fans don't even know this. They just think because Bruno's playing in that position, he's automatically a number 10. There's a reason why Bruno has a tattoo of number 8 on his hand, on his arm, and wears number 8 on his back. It's because he isn't actually a number 8, a box-to-box midfielder. Fans think he's a number 10, which is scary, you know. So for Wolfhaze to come out here and say he's being played out of position, Amad Diallo's being played out of position in this system. Brian Mbeumo is played out of position in this system. Kobbie Mainoo is played out of position in this system. Yeah? So, again, when you're coming on there, Wolfhaze, at least don't just come on here with generic stuff and explain what you mean. Because when you're saying that we're blaming the manager or you're blaming the guy out of position, this same manager is picking the guy you're mentioning out of position. So who are we going to blame? You know, it's nonsense what you're coming out with there. Again, it's your opinion, but at least come out with something which is relevant or which makes sense. Because you're saying don't blame the manager and blame the guy. Yeah, you're contradicting yourself. You're saying blaming another manager, blame the guy that's being played that position. So it's either we blame Amorim for playing Bruno at position, or we blame Bruno who's not a 10. Which is it? Make it make sense, man. Sam says 2 games and Frank and the GOAT already, and Amorim is shit. No one's saying Thomas Frank's a GOAT, so that's nonsense what you're saying there. Thomas Frank's a very good manager, and he's someone that should have come in at the start of this season. But Tottenham obviously saw what a lot of fans and what Ineos didn't see, obviously. So what I'm trying to say to you is that it's not the fact that Thomas Frank is the GOAT. Have a look what Thomas Frank has implemented in a short space of time at Tottenham already. I mentioned it earlier. You know, they played PSG, and although PSG come back and beat them on penalties, for large parts of that game, Tottenham dominated that game. And PSG, you know, one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world right now, beat them on penalties. Against Burnley at home and expected, beat Burnley 3-0 and should have been more. And then against Man City, who's one of the best teams in the league, comfortably beat them 2-0 away from home. So Thomas Frank's been there 5 minutes and look what he's implemented already. You know, the same can't be said for Ruben Amorim. So the fact that it's a case where you're just trying to make excuses for the manager just shows the problem. You know, it just shows the problem. And just like I said with Phil Holland, if Amorim doesn't beat Burnley, you know, and if he's still in charge, doesn't beat City and Chelsea, I don't want to hear you come on here and tell me Amorim out. I don't want to hear it. Because you guys are not looking at the bigger picture, unfortunately. So Wolf Hayes says, these were the same fans talking about how good Ange was over Ten Hag because he won a few games and played fancy football. Absolutely no patience. Again, that's nonsense. Ange as a manager was better than Ten Hag. He was, you know, he was. Even though his teams were a bit open. This is the guy that won the Europa League against the guy you want to give patience to, Ruben Amorim. You know, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? He won the Europa League over the manager that you want to give patience to. Like you're not making sense what you're saying. You're not making any sense. You know, it makes no sense. Like you're saying Ange won a few games and played fancy football. He won the Europa League against the manager that has won nothing, and against the manager that lost the Europa League final to that manager. Like, what are you talking about? That makes no sense what you're saying. You know? I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, Rangnick's talent ID was top-notch. Again, the players that Rangnick wanted, again, wanted a lot of RB Leipzig players. This is why he should have gone upstairs, but United missed the chance on that one. Big up to Shaheen Afridi for coming on. Big up. So Shaheen says, prediction for Arsenal versus Liverpool, and do you think Eze will start in that game? Do I think Eze starts? For me, Eze will only start that game if Odegaard is not fit. If Odegaard's not fit, Eze starts. If not, then I don't think Eze starts that game, because I think what Arteta's going to do, and again, I'll be surprised if he doesn't do this. What Arteta's going to do, if Odegaard's fit, he's going to play, again, Arteta's teams are very easy to predict. As we know, Bukayo Saka's out injured. You know, a lot of fans are clamouring for Max Dowman to start. Max Dowman's not going to start. He'll be on the bench, but he's not going to start. But the team he's going to play against Liverpool, he's going to play David Raya in goal, Urian Timber right back. Left back's going to be interesting because it's going to be either Calafiori or Lewis Skelly. Now, I think the fact that Lewis Skelly's been found out a bit in terms of defensively up against Mo Salah, is he going to risk that away from home? I don't know. He might play Calafiori for his defensive stability. I don't know. But it'll be either Calafiori or Lewis Skelly at left back. I think you go Calafiori at left back, probably because Calafiori is more defensive. Saliba Gabriel, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, and it'll be Odegaard if he's fit, Madueke on the right, Martinelli will play on the left, Gyökeres up top. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't go with that team. So Eze for me won't start. If Eze will only start if Odegaard's out injured. But Madueke is definitely starting. Madueke is going to play on that right-hand side because Saka's out injured. And then I think Martinelli starts on the left. And the reason he's going to play Martinelli and Madueke is because of the pace on the break. That's what it will do for me. But predictions, I'm going to say Liverpool 2-1. I think Liverpool win that 2-1 at home. Yeah, I think they win that 2-1 for sure. Yeah, big up, man. So Sham says, just because it's Grimsby doesn't mean you'll score 5 goals. But again, Sham, again, the manager, I don't really care what happens against Grimsby Town. Manchester United need to be scoring 5 goals. I don't care what manager's in charge. You know, this is Grimsby Town. You know, away from home, at home, I expect 5 goals. You know, I don't care what way Grimsby's set up. You know, I don't care if they're defensive. We was told that this manager or this coach is meant to be a top coach. You know, you've got players in there that cost a lot of money. You know, even if you do change the system, change the players, I expect 5-0 as a minimum. It's as simple as that. Just like I would expect if Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, if they was to go and play Grimsby, I'd expect 5 goals minimum. Man United is no different. And again, if there's any fan that thinks that Man United shouldn't be winning by 5 goals, you're letting the manager off the hook, unfortunately. Ethiopia Lion thinks Liverpool 3-1. Yeah, I think we have to give credit to Arsenal's defence. You know, that's why I'm saying 2-1. You know, but 2-1, 3-1, fair enough. I think, as I said, man, I think 2-1, 2-1's a fair scoreline. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with that. Yeah, I think Liverpool definitely being at home 2-1. I think if it was away from home, I'd probably say 1-1, 2-2. But I don't believe Liverpool lose this game. I think Liverpool will go on the front foot. Again, they'll be in a very confident mood after having beaten Newcastle. You know, one of the last kicks of the game. Obviously, big up to Rio as well. So yeah, I'm gonna say 2-1 Liverpool against Arsenal, 3-1. But again, I'll definitely be watching that game, man. No doubt, be watching that game. So I'm gonna say 2-1. Big up to Rishi says, big up Gab, the realest United fan on YouTube. Yeah, appreciate that, man. Listen, my views are my views. You know, I'm one of them people that if I truly believe in something, like I'm not gonna sway my opinion. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, I know absolutely everything about football, which again, my football knowledge, you know, I'll be honest with you guys, from playing, from watching, from coaching, my knowledge in football is up there. Like I'd happily sit down with anyone and debate my opinions against them and hold my own. I definitely do believe that, you know. But again, I'm not here to kind of, you know, be swayed by the majority. You know, if it's my opinion and I believe in it, then I'm going to run with it. It's as simple as that. And again, I'm not asking for you guys to agree to my opinion. Like, I think the best thing about debate is just debating it out, you know, whether you guys agree or not. And that's what I'm about. So yeah, if you think that's real, then I appreciate it, man. Big up yourself. Big up. Shaheen says, rumours of Mainoo leaving. Yeah, listen, Kobbie Mainoo's not leaving Manchester United. He's not leaving. I've said this from the very start, man. He is not leaving Man United. Ruben Amorim leaves before Kobbie Mainoo. Bruno Fernandes leaves before Kobbie Mainoo. I'm certain of that. Because the main thing is that Kobbie's come through the youth, you know, and hasn't been given the chances that he should be given. So for me, the one thing that I'm more worried about is the contract, because I heard something this morning that, and again, I don't believe this anyway. Apparently Kobbie's looking for 200 grand a week. That's a lie. I don't believe that, you know. There's no way Kobbie Mainoo is going to Manchester United. He wants 200 grand a week. There's no way that I believe that. A 19-year-old getting 200 grand a week is not going to happen for a start. And I don't believe that's true. I think that's just people just trying to create a story out of nothing, really. You know, there's no way Kobbie Mainoo should be on more money, really, than Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo's on 90 grand a week, and the rumours are saying that Kobbie wants 200 grand a week. No. Even 150 from what I heard he wants. No way. Kobbie Mainoo, for me, should be on the same amount of money as Amad, if not less. You know, I know he's come through the youth, etc. You know, if Kobbie was to be given 100 grand a week, I'll be like, do you know what? He's on more than Amad, which I don't really agree with, but fair enough. You know, let's just tie him down. If it's 150 or rumored to be 200, then get rid of him, which I don't think he does want, you know. And but do I believe Mainoo leaves? I don't. I think Mainoo stays at Man United, and I think as I said, the two that I've mentioned, Amorim and Bruno, go before him. You know, because the fact that this manager has the cheek to say that Kobbie Mainoo is battling with Bruno for a position in training just means Kobbie ain't going to play, really, because this manager is hell-bent on dropping Bruno Fernandes. And I keep saying this, guys. I've been saying this from last season. The fact that he's love for Bruno Fernandes, you know, this is going to be why he gets sacked, because you can't keep better players or that are better for the team on the bench because you want to keep playing Bruno Fernandes. It's ridiculous. So, as I said, man, I believe Mainoo signs a new contract. So Ethiopia Lion says he should leave. He's wasted on the bench. I think as long as Amorim's here, he's going to be wasted on the bench. I agree. But guys, listen, I don't think Amorim's here for the long haul. I'm going to stick to that. He's not here for the long haul, because these results, these performances can't continue. And I believe Ineos are looking at that. And Ineos are not going to risk the backlash, I believe, of the fans if they let a youth product leave the club before the manager and Bruno Fernandes, which is why I think he's not going anywhere. And I'm confident of that as well. I'm absolutely confident of that. So yeah, I think he's fine, man. I think he'll be fine, Kobbie Mainoo. As I said, this manager for me, he's on borrowed time, man. You know, I think people are looking past this Grimsby town match. I'm telling you now, if it's a poor performance and they don't get 5 goals, and let's say they scrape a victory, the pressure's going to ramp up, because the Burnley game becomes even more important. And as I said about the Burnley game, if he doesn't get positive results, it's mad. Liam Mills says he didn't want to take the job last year because of the storm, so I suppose you've got to give him some grace. He didn't inherit a shit show. Nah, I don't agree with that. If he didn't want to take the job, don't take the job. This is the thing. When people say these things, yeah, it's like if Amorim's a manager of any note and he rates himself that highly as a coach, then you should be patient to not take the job and think to yourself, maybe a better job comes along in the future if you really do rate what you're doing. The fact that he took this job meant that he doesn't really rate what he's doing. And when he comes out with this, there's a storm coming. Why should there be a storm coming? Why? Why should Man United fans accept a storm coming from Ruben Amorim? Why? Not to mention he's brought all this on himself as well. You know? So to say that he deserves some grace and he's coming to a shit show, I don't agree. I don't agree. And again, that's just protecting the manager. You know? And I'm not here to protect any manager. You know? He doesn't deserve any grace. Coming into the club when you're 4 points off the top 4 and you finish 15th doesn't deserve grace. Coming into the club, you know, and you amass 7 wins, you know, from what, 29 games, doesn't deserve grace. Losing the Europa League final to Tottenham, who doesn't win anything, doesn't deserve grace. You know? Scoring 1 goal from open play in 2025 doesn't deserve grace. So again, people out there that want to defend this manager, you know, you're doing a disservice to yourself and you're doing a disservice to the club, because this is nothing short of embarrassing, really. The things that I've just mentioned don't deserve grace. The fact that Liam's saying that he didn't want to take the job, don't take the job then. Don't take the job. If you feel the job is in a place where it's not suited to you, or there's other things that you don't agree with, don't take the job. If you back yourself as a manager, as a coach, don't take the job. It's as simple as that. I'm not here for the excuses. The facts are, this coach was brought in to get better out of this team, and at this moment in time, he's failing. He's failing. It's as simple as that. He's been given a whole new front three. One of them's not really playing. All three of them haven't scored so far. So let's stop the protection of Amorim, and let's give him. Let's make sure he's held accountable. That's it. That is it. Guys, come on, smash the likes up. We got 16 of you in the moment and only 14 likes. Let's smash the like button, guys. Help the channel to be seen by more people. Big up yourselves. Gunners fan says Amorim should manage Portugal so he can get all the Portuguese players he likes. Yeah, listen, maybe that might be on the cards for him in the future. Who knows? But yeah, listen, I don't see him being there for too long at Man United. I don't see it. Got itchy nose, man. Bloody hell. Hay fever. And the tablet. Liam Mills says Rasmus needs to go now, but he's too should have been a backup to an experienced striker in the first place. We did shaft him a bit. Again, I disagree with that. Big up Liam, man, for your comments, but again, I disagree. The fact that people are saying Rasmus needs to go now, Rasmus doesn't need to go now. Rasmus shouldn't have been here in the first place. This is what people are forgetting. Rasmus Højlund had no right being here in the first place. When you're spending 74 million on a player that got 9 league goals in the Serie A, what made you think he was going to do anything of note in the Premier League? What made you think he was going to do anything of note in the Premier League? He wasn't. And the thing is, when people say that he should have been backup to an experienced striker, nah, he shouldn't have been brought here in the first place. Whoever targeted Rasmus Højlund, wasn't doing a good job, because there was other strikers probably out there. John Duran was out there before he went to Villa. There was other strikers out there that could have been targeted. Rasmus Højlund had no place coming to Man United, having scored 9 league goals. 9 league goals for Atalanta. There was no way he should have been signed. And as I said, with Rasmus Højlund, if Rasmus Højlund wasn't getting goals, but yet his link play, his touch, his hold up play, his game understanding was good, I'd be like, do you know what? Maybe he deserves a bit more time, a bit more time to kind of feature in this, to feature at the club. He hasn't got none of these things. He hasn't got no hold up play. He's got a poor first touch. His game understanding is terrible. He spends half his time on the floor. For a guy of his physicality, as I said, he spends half his time on the floor, isn't good enough. All these things coupled, which means why he isn't good enough in the first place. So I don't think United shafted him. I don't, because I don't care how old he is. Again, like, these things are excuses. Look at other players that have come to the club. That look at other players that have made first team debuts or whatever at younger ages. There's no point going on to them, because you guys can see that for yourself. Rasmus Højlund's 22 years of age, and he's shown nothing since he's come to this club. Nothing. And the fact that people are saying he needs to go now, people are only saying that because Sesko's come through the door. Rasmus Højlund should have never been signed in the first place, and should have gone at the end of the season. That's the facts, So I don't think United shafted him. He was never good enough to be in the first place, That's the honest truth. Yep. And again, as Sham has said, Liverpool fan, Rasmus Højlund was being played even though he went 20 plus games without a goal. Again, that's on the manager. That's not on Højlund, that's on the manager. Because what you're doing there is that you're killing the guy, knowing that he ain't getting any goals and he's playing poor, but you keep playing him. Why? You know, why? Because the reason he keeps doing that is because the manager, the thing is, this manager, the problem he has with his system as well is that he identifies certain players for certain roles and doesn't budge on that. But that's to the detriment of him, because there is no way that Rasmus Højlund should have played all those games when you've got Xerxes there. You know, even Cheeto was there. You know, Cheeto could have done a better job than Rasmus Højlund. But you don't keep doing the same thing and get different results. You don't. He went 20 plus games without a goal, and the manager kept playing him. That's on the manager. You know, that's on the manager. Oh, West Ham won Conference League. I thought it was Europa League they won. You sure it's Conference League or Europa they won? It could have been Conference League. Well, again, they won a European trophy, which Amorim didn't. So, yeah, man. Big up to Waka. Waka says Zubimendi, the game changer. Yeah, I think you're getting a bit carried away with that one, man. He ain't no game changer. He ain't. As I said, man, there's tougher tests, and the test is on Sunday against Liverpool. Let's see what Zubimendi does against Liverpool, because if he runs that midfield, then fair enough. But let's see, man. Let's see. Mizo Momo says, tell us your fantasy team. I haven't got a fantasy team. So Waka reckons 2-0 to Arsenal. Nah, I doubt that, man. 2-0 away from home against 2-0 away from home against Liverpool. I don't see that. Big up to Agres Gaming. I'm from the UK, man. Big up. So Waka reckons we got Zubimendi, Rice, Saliba, Gabriel. You ain't scoring. Guys, you've heard it here first. Liverpool score, yeah? Liverpool will score against Arsenal. I guarantee they'll score at Anfield. They'll probably score the first goal as well. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, and Timber, as he says. Okay, so Waka was the one that said Dalman is going to be the saviour. Okay, so that means Waka's just... Waka's on something. I'm not sure what he's on, but... Yeah, let's take what Waka says with a pinch of salt, man. Because if you think us 15-year-old will save your season, like, I'm sorry, man. He's not. He's got talent, clearly, but he's not going to save your season. He's not, man. But that's funny anyway. This chat's killing me, man. You guys are killing me in the chat. You guys are killing me in the chat. Big up to the Royalty Master says, hey Gav, how are you doing? What are your score predictions for tonight? I think 5-0. Yeah, big up to Royalty Master, man. I'm all good. I'm all good. So yeah, for me, as I said, as you guys can see in the title, you know, minimum 5 goals. I think 5 goals is not too much to ask, if I'm honest. You know, I think first and foremost, I want to see a changed team. I want to see 5 goals minimum. Yeah. As I said earlier, if he doesn't change the team and he plays the same, more or less the same team that played against Fulham, and they don't beat Grimsby 5-0, he's in trouble. He is. So yeah, man. As I said, I think 5-0 is not too much to ask for. My predictions tonight. Do I believe he beats Grimsby 5-0? I don't. I do believe they beat Grimsby, but I want to see what team he plays first and foremost, because I think it's going to be unacceptable to play the same team that played against Fulham. He has to change the team for me. You know, I want to see Xerxes start. I want to see Sesko start. I want to see Kobbie start. Ahmad's a weird one because, of course, I like to see Ahmad start every game. But the thing is, if Ahmad starts today, does Ahmad start against Burnley? Because Ahmad needs to start against Burnley at home. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. So Royal Imar says, I hope in a polite way, I don't want to see Bruno start and you want to see Mainoo play, but I can see Bruno playing as a 10 and doing well in his normal position to everyone forgets about the back. Yeah, but again, you see what it is, Royal Master, yeah? The fact that these fans think Bruno's a 10 is actually laughable, yeah? And again, it shows you that a lot of fans don't really look at things deeply the way that I do at football. Bruno's not a 10. He never has been a 10. You know, the position which he sets up in what Ten Hag and Solskjaer played him in is a number 10 position, but he's not a natural 10. He's actually a number 8. So again, in this system, he's not a 10 in this system also, because in this system, the number 10s, the left or the right 10, you need to be good in tight spaces. You need to be good in isolation, in isolating your right back, and you need to be able to take on your man as well in them positions. All the things that Bruno can't do. And in this number 8 position, he doesn't fit either because he's ill-disciplined in that position. So the answer is Bruno shouldn't be playing in the first place. He shouldn't even be here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So the fact that fans think he's a number 10 is actually laughable. He never has been a number 10. He never has been a number 10. I mentioned earlier the number 10s that I've watched throughout my years. Bruno's not better than even one of them players. So when fans say that Bruno should be playing as a 10, it's actually laughable. It's laughable. He's not even a number 10. Ask yourself the question this, yeah? Ask yourself the question this. If he has a number 8 tattoo on his arm and wears number 8, where does that tell you where he plays? He plays a number 8. He's a number 8 in a different system, in a 4-3-3. That's where he's a number 8. You know, so fans that want to back this manager and this manager plays Bruno Fernandes, the manager, in a sense, is doing a disservice to Bruno because Bruno is a number 8, but not in this system. He's a number 8 in a 4-3-3. But this 3-4-2-1, he's not a 10 and he's not an 8. So the answer is just don't play him altogether. He shouldn't be playing. But again, a lot of fans are not really seeing these things, you know. The fact that fans think he's a number 10 is laughable. Put it that way. Sham says, if you don't win the league or Champions League this season, then Arteta has to go. But it seems like you're happy keeping him for years. Bottle jobs. Can't disagree with that. Yeah. I think Arsenal's team have now gone away, as I keep saying, from winning FA Cup, Carabao Cup. It's either Champions League or the league. Do I believe they win either one? I don't. Do I believe that Arteta stays? He shouldn't, but standards at that club are at an all-time low. So, but that's their problem. We got bigger things to think about, Man United. Big up to Madridista. The Royalty Mars says, do you think Sesko will start? Sesko definitely starts today. He will start, yeah. He will start. He'll start because it's Grimsby. You know, he'll start because it's Grimsby. I can tell you the games that Sesko's going to start in, yeah? He'll start him against Grimsby today. The Burnley game, he'll only start Sesko for me. If Sesko gets a couple of goals tonight, I think he starts him against Burnley. Against City and Chelsea, I'm not too sure if he starts him. Because this manager likes to play defensive. So, I'm not too sure. But you got Joshua Xerxes as well, you know. Again, Xerxes should not be staying on the bench. He should not be on the bench in the first place. But the problem is that you've got Mbeumo and Cunha, who are playing in the 10 positions. You got Sesko, who's a new signing. And it's like Xerxes not playing because of that nonsense. So they've got to somehow get Xerxes into this team. Because Xerxes should be starting for me in the 9. He should be. So yeah, as I said, man, it's crazy. Right, guys, we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes. So if you guys got any more questions for me, make sure you get that in. I'm going to wrap up in 5 minutes. Guys, also on Sunday, again, if you guys like your fitness, your training, I'm going to do a live workout on Sunday at, I think, at 11 o'clock, I believe. So yeah, make sure you guys keep an eye out. So one of my boys back in the day, you guys might have heard of him. He's got quite a big presence on YouTube and on TikTok. Jay Avalanche. So yeah, we're gonna try and do a live. Well, I'm gonna be doing a boxing 30-minute boxing workout with him. You know, some pad work. So yeah, we're gonna be streaming that live. So I might stream that on my channel at 11 o'clock. So yeah, make sure you guys come and give that some support as well. So yeah, that'd be something I might be doing. But big up. Zedra says, Gav, you did this poll on Dauman versus Rio. Who do you think's better? Good question. Well, firstly, you know, obviously, Rio, obviously, I've had first-hand experience of playing against him, you know, 5-a-side. Again, if anyone doesn't know, Rio's team is a team called Part-Time Pros. And obviously my team, our team at Power League called No Defense. So obviously we're the top 2 in the league at the moment. Rio's team obviously Part-Time Pros. And he has played against us a few times. And I've seen first-hand experience of how devastating he is, you know. And what I like about Rio is his intent to take on his man at every opportunity. You know, he's always been there. And as I said, man, like, he's got a massive future. You know, he's got a good head. He's got a good head as well on young shoulders. Seems very grounded as well. And the goal that he scored against Newcastle, many people might be thinking, 16 years of age, what a finish. I can assure you now, guys, that was a routine finish from him. Because I've seen him do that plenty of times, you know. So that was an easy finish for him. You know, again, people might be thinking, what a good finish, might be difficult. That was an easy finish for Rio. Because I've seen him do that plenty of times. And as I said, I've seen him up close and personal, you know. I've seen him destroy defenders. I've seen him, you know, just run through teams at will. So again, he's going to be a very special player for me. I like Dauman because Dauman's left-footed, you know, and any left-footed players that are technical, I've got time for. You know, being left-footed myself as well, I have a preference for left-footers because I haven't really seen too many attacking players that are left-footed that aren't technical, that aren't good. So I think they're 2 players with big futures in the game. You know, one's 15, one's 16, turning 17 in a couple of days' time. For me, again, I got no bias. Liverpool, Arsenal, no bias there. But I'm going to say Rio. I'm going to say Rio. I think he's a future England international. You know, I think he's going to force his way as well into this Liverpool first team ahead of Gakpo if he keeps getting given game time. So, yeah, I'm gonna say Rio, but I do think Dauman's good. I do. But under this manager, Arteta, I just don't know if Dauman's going to fulfill his potential under this manager. And again, where Dauman plays, you've got the captain in Odegaard. You've now got Eze coming in there. And on the right, you've got Saka, £52 million Madueke, Ethan Nwaneri as well. I just don't know how Dauman will get the game time ahead of them guys. You know, something's got to give. But yeah, I'm gonna say Rio, man. I'm gonna say Rio. As I said, man, I actually see Dauman the other day, actually, last week. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I see him in my high street, funny enough. So yeah, man, he's actually like, he's actually quite a groundy guy as well, man. But yeah, as I said, man, I'm gonna say Rio. I'm gonna say Rio for sure. But yeah, two good players, man. And who knows? they could be two players that could be future England internationals. You know, along with Wanyeri as well. Big up to Lumi. Big up Lumi. Guys, yeah, gonna go for another couple of minutes. So give me your questions before we wrap up. I might be back later, guys. Part of me doesn't want to do a match reaction to Man United and Grimsby. You know, I can't bring myself to doing a match reaction to that. Yeah, big up Lumi, man. Yeah, Dalman actually, I'm not sure if he's still living there, but he actually lives close to the area from me. Yeah. As I said, yeah, I see Rio quite a bit, man. Obviously not now, but I see Rio at Power League where I play, man. And yeah, man, he's got a good head, man, on young shoulders. And again, him and his brother, they play in a team, Part-Time Pros, which is our rival team. And yeah, they're a very good team, man. And yeah, man, they're cool guys, you know. And as I said, what's actually funny is that when I spoke to Rio before he started pre-season, you know, I made a joke with him. So I went to him, man, like, what's your chances of obviously he told me he's going Hong Kong with Liverpool in pre-season. And I said to him that I went to him, you know, how do you think you'll get on? And he goes, he sounded confident, you know, that he could force his way into the first team at Liverpool. And I went to him, I made a joke with him. I went to him, don't worry, man, Darwin Núñez will be going, so that will be another space for you. And he actually started laughing, you know, he's actually laughing. And look what's happened now. Núñez is gone, and Rio's getting chances now. It's funny how that's worked out, but I remember making that joke with him. And it's crazy, man, to think that's happened. But no, listen, I hope he does well, man. You know what I mean? Good luck to him, man, because he's definitely put the work in, man. So yeah, hopefully he can fulfill his potential, definitely. But yeah. So yeah, guys, sorry, I was saying, yeah, so I might be back later today. I'm not promising anything. Again, keep an eye on the schedule and put your notifications on to see when I go live. But I might come back later for the reaction to the Man United Grimsby game. But it's not a game I really want to be reacting to, if I'm honest, because this should be a foregone conclusion, you know, 5 goals minimum and a win. So nah, Lumi, I'm not doing a watch along to this game, man. Hell no. Hell no. You can't be doing a watch along to Man United Grimsby. But I might do a match reaction later. I'm not too sure yet. So yeah. But yeah, I'll see what happens. I'll see what happens. But again, guys, as I said, on Sunday, you know, I will be doing like a 30-minute workout, boxing pad work with one of my boys from Day. Jay Avalanche. He's got a massive profile on massive following on YouTube and on TikTok as well. So yeah, I'll be doing a 30-minute boxing pad workout with him on Sunday at 11 o'clock. So again, keep an eye on my schedule, guys. So I'll be I should be streaming that live, you know. So yeah, if you guys are free on Sunday at 11, make sure you you come through and show us some support, man. It'd be good. You know, I think he's actually got some. I think he might actually have some other people coming down there. M Huncho. Who was it? I see M Huncho, Wiley. I think they might be coming down there as well. Funny enough, on Sunday. So yeah, it should be good, man. So yeah, make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. And as I say, I'll be scheduling that on my channel. So yeah, keep an eye on that for that as well. Waka says, who's your favourite boxer, Gav? Floyd, Terence Crawford, Usyk. I love Usyk. I think Usyk's ridiculous as a boxer. So yeah, Usyk, Floyd, Terence Crawford. I like Errol Spence as well. Errol Spence. The heavyweight division. I've never really been a massive fan of AJ, to be honest with you. AJ's done a great job of putting UK boxing on the map. no doubt. He's made the most of his career as well, and he's been marketed very very good as well. But as I said, man, I think in terms of pure boxers that I like to watch, he isn't really one of them. I mean, knockout power is ridiculous, but the boxers that I like skilled boxers. The likes of, as I said, Usyk, Floyd, Terence Crawford. Errol Spence as well. I like Tank Davis as well. Yeah, it's quite a few, man. It's quite a few. There's quite a few boxers that I like. Obviously, back in the day, obviously Tyson, Sugar Ray Robinson, Leonard as well. Obviously Ali. Yeah, there's loads, man. There is loads. But yeah, listen, Jake Paul's a very good boxer. He is. He's actually a very good boxer. Jake Paul versus AJ. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I mean, there was rumors about that, but listen, Jake Paul is actually a good boxer. He is. Him and his brother Logan Paul, them guys are very good athletes. You got Logan Paul in WWE. Fighting John Cena actually at Clash at Paris. So that's crazy, man. Yeah, Canelo versus Crawford. Yeah, 15th September. That'd be good. I'll definitely be watching that as well. I'm gonna say Crawford. I know Crawford's coming up in weight, but I'm gonna go Crawford, man. I think Crawford's special. I think in boxing you get boxers that are just, these boxers don't come around too often, and I think Crawford is one of them. So yeah, I'm gonna say Crawford. Oh, Sham, you seen AJ fight live, yeah, twice. Yeah, listen, there's no doubt that he put UK boxing on the map. He has. He's someone that is sorry. He's someone that is very marketable, and he's made the most out of because in terms of his boxing smarts, his boxing technique, he's not really got that, He's got mad power, and he's quite an awkward fighter, but he's made a very good he made a very good career out of what he's had, and he's been marketed very well, But I wouldn't say he's one of my favorite boxers to watch. He's not, But yeah, man, it's if he was to fight Jake Paul, I mean, I'd expect AJ to beat Jake Paul, but Jake Paul is good. But yeah, Canelo Crawford, that's gonna be a great fight, man. That's at mad times in the morning, though, in America, so that's going to be frustrating to watch. So I'm not sure how I'm going to watch that, if I'm going to stay awake, but I want to watch that fight, definitely, But, yeah, I think Crawford wins that, man, definitely. Guys, listen up. Big up yourselves for coming through each and every time. Much appreciated. We've only got 17 likes on the channel at the moment. Again, we want to try and make a minimum of 30 likes. So if you haven't smashed that like button already, make sure you do on the way out. And again, guys, make sure you you sub to the channel. Just seen Manchester women 4-0 against PSV. Funny that. Same kind of scoreline I'll be expecting tonight against Grimsby from the men. So let's hope United don't disappoint. But yeah, guys, as I said, man, big up yourselves for coming on. Big up to all the mods each and every time. As I said, I might be back, guys, later tonight doing the reaction to the Man United and Grimsby game. Again, I'm not going to promise anything, but keep an eye on my schedule and on the put your notifications on. And as I said, guys, big up yourselves each and every time, and I'm going to catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.